Welcome back to An American Conversation. If you remember last week, we were speaking with a Border Patrol agent who's boots on the ground, sees what's happening at our southern border, and we just plain ran out of time asking him so many questions, and he agreed to come back this week. And thank you so much, sir, for joining us on American Conversation.
Thank you for having me back. Thank you.
You know, we covered so much ground, but one thing we didn't touch on is we see these caravans coming up from Central America, and you know what? These folks do not look like they've just walked 2,000 miles. And you know, the time it's taking them to get up here, it seems pretty quick. Do you see an organized occurrence? And if so, where the heck is this funding coming from? Do you know?
Well, as I said last time, the state of Coahuila, which is near the Texas border, town of Eagle Pass and Del Rio, actually organized buses through the private and public entities there in Mexico to go down and pick up, I think it was around 1,800, and bus them up to the northern border and drop them off, set up camps, and basically took care of their needs while they prepare to make their, well, what amounts to a legal entry into the U.S.
So it seems like they don't have the resources down there either, but they're coming up with enough money to ship them up to the northern border to make it our problem.
That's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
You know, the numbers I heard last week were there was about 15,000 that the Border Patrol had tracked in Mexico. Some in Tijuana still left over from the first caravans of November and December. And the current caravans that are starting, that's not including the 12,000 estimated that are preparing to leave very shortly and head up and make their way.
And you know, with these, they've learned how to work the system. We were talking about it last week, and Asylum has some pretty specific requirements. It just can't be for a better life, or I want to have make more money in my job. Are these folks finding loopholes, and are they getting coached?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I've encountered aliens that had a script in their pocket that told them exactly what to say and what buttons to push to kick the process off. But my biggest problem with that is that the Asylum program was not intended for private, and I say private by individualized persecution or violence.
Right.
The Asylum process was designed for people who are being persecuted by their government of their country, or a specific situation that is so massive. For instance, in El Salvador, we were granting asylum because of the Civil War. Simply because your neighborhood is rough is not a legitimate claim for asylum, but that's what they're accepting now, and that's what we're having to deal with.
And I understand that a lot of these people are showing up with some pretty serious health issues.
I have seen diseases that I didn't know even existed anymore, like scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever.
Tuberculosis is a huge problem. Many of them have some diseases and things that, frankly, they're coming from a third world country where medicine is not as advanced as it is here in the U.S., and things that have been eradicated here are still running rampant down there.
And what do we do with them when they have these kind of medical conditions? Do we turn them back to their home countries, or are we assuming the medical care?
We assume the medical care. We take them to the hospital, and the hospitals are taking care of them as best